How's it going out there? It's very enthusiastic, thank you. All right. Mayur, it's our second time having a conversation. I loved our first one. For those who might not know, 30 seconds, who is Mayur Gupta?
So, Chief Marketing and Growth Officer at Kraken. Of course, we are one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world and now evolving from being an exchange to a tech platform. But at the highest and simplest level, my mission at Kraken is to help drive growth in all aspects, grow the user base, grow the brand, grow the user value. So bring as many people as possible to our backyard, remove every single friction to get them into the house, and make sure I add so much value that they don't leave us.
For those who don't know, I mean, Kraken's been around since what, 2011?
Yep.
One of the earliest exchanges in the space. Just to reflect on a little bit on, 2025, think of all that's happened even in the last year in crypto. But you guys put the work in, right? You've been doing it for long enough. What does it feel like to be at this moment in time?
Yeah, well, personally, and Ewen as Kraken, yes, we've been around for almost 15 years. We've seen many bulls and bears. We are one of the most mission-focused and obsessed organizations I've ever worked. And regardless of the bulls and bears, we stay true to the mission. We keep shipping. We keep building great stuff. Our eyes on in the longer-term vision for sure. But personally too, I joined Kraken 3.5 years back at the peak of the bull run. The honeymoon only lasted 3 months, so it's been a firefight. I think many of you who've been around in the last bear run, we all deserve the headwinds. It's very exciting to be here, and as an organization, these are amazing times for us. We are, we brought a lot of velocity into what we are doing, our scale around the world, launching some great stuff, a lot of innovation, putting the customer and our users at the center, and a big focus is on bringing real-world utility, real-world use cases, which I'm very excited because crypto is finally, the whole ecosystem and infrastructure is finally at a point where the focus is now so much on the value, where technology is finally starting to get obscure and hidden, as it should, which is the inflection point for global adoption.
There's a lot of exchanges out there. Only 4 of them are rated AA exchanges. You guys are one of them. I'm just wondering, what work does it take to build a top-tier exchange where you are in that rarefied air compared to so many others who are trying to get there?
Well, one, very excited that we are there, but also not surprised because I know the amount of work that has gone in, that goes in every single day. But also, knowing the way you all rate these exchanges, the core pillars that you all look at, is transparency, technology, liquidity, trust, security. All those have been core pillars of Kraken for the last 15 years. And we have one of the deepest liquidity order books for USD, Euro pairs. Security has been the core of Kraken for 15 years. Our genesis was we were born out of the Mt. Gox back then, and it's the ethos that our founders brought on that still lives till date today. For example, I don't know if you guys caught, it was all over the news. We had this North Korean hacker who was trying to join Kraken, and our security team caught that, but then we went through the process to really understand their strategies and their tactics. So, for us, security is our DNA. That's what we live and breathe in everything we do, and it's not just what we do to our products and our clients' access, but it is what we do internally as well. So it's not a facade, it's just the way how we operate Kraken, the way every single Krakenite lives every day as well.
If you haven't read the story about the North Korean hacker trying to get a job at Kraken, it's phenomenal. It's really, really interesting. Just go to CoinDesk.com.
Yes, do anything. Don't try to mess with Kraken security. We'll catch you.
Right, exactly. So I had an insight. I was having a conversation last week, and one of the things that I thought about was when I think of my child, 23 years old, she just looks at really all assets in the world being digital, right? Money for her is Venmo in the same way that it's cash. I think about the people who are investing and they're buying Apple, but they're not getting a stock certificate, or they're buying QQQ, they're not getting, like everything is digital. I'm wondering, in your opinion, when you think of the retail investor on Kraken, are they looking at Bitcoin or Ethereum the same way that they're looking at Nvidia or Apple stock these days? Of this is just an investment I want to be in, and I have to be in the game in order to play?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, as a platform, we have a very diverse set of segments. Retail consumer was our focus. We started that focus in 2021. We've seen tremendous growth. It's so amazing to see, especially as a marketer and someone who's responsible for growth. The professional and advanced trader is where we started, on that side, and we have a very, very loyal user base there, and the institutional client side. But on the retail, it's very exciting. These are exciting times because the world of equity trading, the world of TradFi, and crypto is finally converging, and we are right at the center of that intersection point. So what we see is, we have clients who are crypto first. They trust Kraken. They are here to trade many different assets, different types. But for them, the fact that we've launched equity trading on Kraken, a few weeks back, where now you can trade out of 11,000 plus, US-based stocks and ETFs, for them, it's a great frictionless experience. Now they can diversify their portfolio. But this is also opening up doors for users who are looking for a trusted platform that brings the diversity that we do, but who are primarily looking for equity trading, but they want the same platform to now diversify their portfolio into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, or meme coins. So we look at both of those segments coming to a trusted platform like Kraken. We are going after them, and we are figuring out ways to add more and more value that comes now at the intersection point of whether that is equity trading and crypto trading, or on the derivative side, where we just completed our acquisition of NinjaTrader, along with our crypto advanced trading and derivatives product.
So you think for the younger trader, just digital assets are digital assets, and they should be able to, on Kraken, buy Apple, buy an ETF, and buy Solana, and have it all in one portfolio.
Yeah, see, I would ladder it even one level up, which is this generation, or our kids, and they are so used to the technology that is intertwined in their daily lives. They are so used to convenience and experience. They are so used to getting value, and they are so used to trust. What I mean by that is, when you open your Spotify app, you trust that you will find the music you're looking for. They are not wondering, am I going to find that song? They just assume that they will find it. And it's convenient. It is coming to them. Sometimes they want to discover. And there is tremendous value. I feel this wave of crypto's adoption is now going to operate at that intersection, where platforms like Kraken are going to win as long as we try to find the value at that intersection point. We focus on what more value can I give back to the user? How do I absolutely continue to hold the trust, which we absolutely do? And then, very importantly, how do I remove the friction? I think that is where the inflection point for crypto is happening now, where in the last 14, 15 years, we've had to get the ecosystem and the infrastructure to the point where now you feel the technology can be hidden. Now the barriers are more simplified, where normal people can also jump into crypto and not just the early adopters.
But just to pull on that thread a little bit, I mean, you were at Spotify before you were at Kraken. So securing a song on my playlist is a little different than securing, $10,000 in a digital asset on Kraken. So I assume there is just a hyper intensity and focus on the idea of security in a world where we're all getting, text every day that says, "Hey, your 2FA was reset on Kraken or on Coinbase or on Gemini." Is that battle hard, knowing also that the attack vectors are so strong?
Yes, there are two elements there. You want to get to the point where the user base can trade an asset, can trust you, just like they are playing music. That has to be the bar. And finally, the shift is that becomes the bar for technology platforms to create the type of experiences, right? Now, in order to get there, in order for the users to feel so safe, you as a platform, you as a brand, have to obsess over those principles like security. So we often say in our advertising that we are up 24/7 so you can sleep, right? That's the mindset that every technology, and especially in crypto, if you don't bring that culture and the value and the value system, it's going to be very hard for you to survive in a category like this.
I can imagine half the people here don't sleep anyway, but Kraken's here for you. All right, so I've interviewed a lot of people in this space, and I often will say, tell me about the first Bitcoin you bought, and do you still hold it? And almost all of them say yes. And similarly, I think about, let's say, the Apple stock I bought in 2013 or 14 that I still hold. Those are digital assets, but I don't think of them as things I want to spend, right?
Yep.
And I think when I think of acquiring assets, and so I want to get inside the retail trader's mind that you know better than I do. How do we get them to start thinking of this as daily cash to spend, when, in fact, even all of the ethos around like Bitcoin is HODL. Like we want people to sort of be in the system just by being in, you're playing the game. And the idea of giving that away is viscerally uncomfortable. But we know you have a pay product. We know there's merchants all around the world that are trying to do it. Keith Grossman was just on here talking about the MasterCard deal they announced this morning. We need this to become a spendable currency for this to work. So how do we get that retail investor to also think of this as just money?
Yes. I love that question. We could probably sit on this for the rest of the time. There's so many aspects of that. The first, I feel, Sam, is that mindset that you got to hodl Bitcoin, you got to hodl whatever you have so you can see your wealth generate and build up. See, that's a mindset in one part of the world.
Yes.
We are very fortunate to be in that part of the world because it's an asset class. Crypto for us is a diversification strategy for most people. But I grew up in India. I'm sure many of you here are immigrants as well from different parts of the world. I can tell you 70% of the world doesn't have that luxury. For them, crypto is absolutely a way to survive. Then they think about living. For them, it is a way to hedge whatever little they have somehow managed to save. It is a way to hedge against a corrupt system. It is a way to hedge against war, to hedge against inflation. And it is absolutely real. It's not like some pseudo-philosophical, theoretical mindset. This is what and how the world is operating when you go to South America, when you go to Asia, when you go to places like Ukraine and Russia and so on. And so we have to diversify, we have to expand the horizons of what value this incredible piece of movement and technology bring, first of all. And on top of that, then as Kraken, that is what we acknowledge. So, we are, I think, one of the most globally distributed exchanges in the world. Europe's our biggest region, US, we are in UK, of course, Canada, we love Canada as one of our top markets in the world. We are now doing a lot more in LATAM. I personally can't wait for us to do a lot more in APAC, which is obviously inevitably going to happen. So for us now, on building on top of that, global diverse user base, which is the ethos of crypto. The whole idea is borderless, it's permissionless. Now we are thinking about how do we unlock that. So for years and years, I have spent so much money to try and send money over back to my house. But we are fortunate enough that whatever percentage you charge, you just pay, you don't think about it. But when you add that up, for a lot of people, sending money from here or in the US back home, when they're only making this much, it's a lot. So for us, we just launched our Kraken Pay product, and a lot more coming in the next few weeks, so please keep an eye out. But a Kraken Pay product, the whole ethos is you can send anything to anybody, anywhere in the world at no cost. You can send fiat, you can send a Bitcoin, you could send equities, and a lot more coming there as well. And that's the ethos, without thinking, and the product experience is going to remove a lot of friction, so you and your family could have a crack tag, and all you're saying is, the crack tag that your brother, your mother, your family has, boom, just choose a crack tag, send them whatever without thinking about where they live.
Mayur, I want to thank you, because I think calling me out on the privilege is
and
something.
myself too, by the way.
No,
Not-
no,
not
and we,
just
no,
you.
no, no.
Yes.
But I'm saying I feel it because I think especially at an event like this, we're gonna have people on our main stage talking about buy Bitcoin all day long, right?
Yeah.
And I think your point is so resonant because we also don't talk enough about the fact that this is a financial transformation for the global majority in the world. And you know, I was fortunate to speak to a woman who runs Tala in India.
Sure. Yes.
10 million wallets, all a crypto backbone. No one cares that it's crypto. They just need better access to money and small amounts to be able to feed themselves, to send home. And I think that is something that I really appreciate that you guys are focused on and that you brought up, because to me, that is why I got into crypto, why a lot of people here did.
Yes, I mean, you know, 1.5 billion people with no access to a banking platform is real. We don't feel it because we all have it, but it's a real thing. How many people aren't able to get paid? Like when you go to India, where fiat still plays a big role. When you service somebody and they don't have cash to give you, you have no option as a service provider, and you're barely making $10 in the entire month. And for them now to be able to get paid, because everyone there does have a phone, by the way. So to be able to get paid like that, or in LATAM or in so many other countries, I mean, that's magical. That's life-changing. And then needless to say that, on top of that, you know, a lot more is coming in terms of payroll, in terms of the type of yield you can earn. So, but your point on that example where the user doesn't need to worry that it's on blockchain or not. Yeah. That is it on multi-chain? What is the consensus mechanism of that chain? Is it proof of stake, proof of work? The user, that type of user doesn't care. So a few weeks back, you know, we've relaunched staking on Kraken in the US, so we are very pumped and excited. So my wife, of course, she doesn't have a choice. She's a very loyal Kraken trader. So a few days back, I told her, and then she started staking ETH. But then when she started to getting the notification on the yield she's earning, the reward, she was like, this is sick, because you're not used to seeing money coming back to you. You only use in traditional systems where you're paying to have an account, even if you have certain amount of money, you know, and then it was really amazing. But that's the aha moment that the user came. She didn't ask me, how does this happen? You know, what is staking? Explain to me. You know, she's like, I don't care. You know, I'm going to put more there because I love to get X% back.
Which opens up the question. I think 98% of the world don't care about staking, but 98% of the world really care. Can I get 4%, 6% back on my money? And yeah, I don't need to know how, as long as I know it's safe. As long as I know and I see that report coming in. And that to me says, this is why we have to simplify this. This is why we have to make it easier to understand. We don't worry about it. There was a group in earlier crypto who said, no, we need to educate them on the technology.
Yeah.
And I think they made a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But the majority of us who didn't need to look at this through the lens of Spotify, where you came from, which is, can I open and play a song? And that's really all that matters to me.
Yeah, you know, that's a very interesting point, because during the bear run, we as Kraken, and we still till date, hold education in crypto as a very strong principle. And while there is a type of user, which is the majority of the world's population, that would not worry about, tell me the mechanics of blockchain, but at the same time, we feel it's on us to make sure that when the markets are going up, that we educate people, new people coming into the world of crypto, that they're not coming into crypto for the casino. That somewhere deep down, they understand that there is a lot of substance underneath, that they understand the science of crypto. The level at which you want to go is up to you, but we absolutely have to make sure that no one is coming only on the surface, because when you're running a movement like this, when this is a revolution, it is bound to have more headwinds. We are going to keep going through these ebbs and flows. We are going to have the next bear run. And until you are rooted somewhere in that underlying mission, in the long-term understanding, you're going to leave. You're still going to struggle when the headwinds come again.
I mean, I'm old enough to remember when my first website, I had to learn how to build a web server.
Yeah,
server.
Wow.
Right? And then we got the Facebooks of the world, and then we get the GoDaddies of the world,
yes.
And they just abstract it away and make it easier. So, you know, there's a DeLorean over there. If we jumped into that car and fast forwarded 5 years, I wonder if we're just going to have, around the world, a lot of really purpose-built financial applications that can do loans, that can do payments, that can do yield, that can do savings, and we don't know, nor do we care what's happening behind the scenes, because that settlement will just happen.
Yes, and that exact point, Sam, which is why as Kraken, we have created multiple surfaces. So we have a Kraken Pro product, which is actually meant for the person who chooses to have absolute control and command. It's like the Photoshop. I still can't figure out how to maximize the use of Photoshop, but I can use the iPhone photo editor because that is dummified for someone dumb like me, and I love it, right? So the way we've thought about the different segments is there absolutely is a lean segment, which is actually the genesis of Kraken, the advanced trader who wants all the control, all the flexibility, because they generate wealth in those in the iota of movement and basis point movement. So for them, we have the Kraken Pro product. But then we launched the Kraken Consumer product, which is still meant to derive and give you the same value proposition, but in a simplified way, with less customization, with less bells and whistles, because you don't want them.
All right. So, Mayur, you've been doing this a long time. You're at one of the leading exchanges. You were at the leading music streaming company. Somewhere in this audience is someone who's trying to build the great next crypto app. What's your advice for them as someone who understands marketing and growth at such a high level? How do you focus on making success in this industry?
One, I hope, I wish I had the playbook. I'm very fortunate to be at Kraken at this stage of our journey. I think very fortunate to have worked with Jesse Tan and the founding team, etc. But I made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of failures. I'm an avid investor, work with a lot of founders. What I have learned in crypto today is, first and foremost, you have to make it about the mission. If you are here to just make a quick buck, you're going to, in any technology vertical, more so in crypto, you're going to struggle. So it has to be about the mission, about the purpose, about the ethos of this category, because the headwinds are inevitable. If you're not mission focused, you are going to give up because it's going to be hard. Two, at this stage of crypto's evolution, you have to put the user at the center. Don't make it about technology anymore. Use technology as an enabler. Think about the value. Think about why it makes sense to your core target audience, and remove the complexity. I think we've spent enough time in our category to get to this stage where the infrastructure looks scalable, it looks efficient. We now have enough processing power, which didn't exist up until maybe even 4 or 5 years back. We now have enough strength. There is enough resilience. I don't think the world is ever questioning, is crypto here to stay? I haven't heard that question in the last 12 months. That used to be the question in 22, 23, first half of 24 maybe. Not anymore. It's a given. We are here. We are not going anywhere. So if you are a disruptor, if you're an innovator, let's think about the value. Let's think about now the utility and the application that adds value back to someone's life every single day, because that is going to be our inflection point to drive absolute global adoption.
Mayur, always such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.